a challenge of return path data is whether you're Kantar or Rentrack or another company that looks at in-home return path data, that the resulting ratings can differ from the current currency.
Mhm.
Do you have a comment about that?
Yeah. Nielsen does some things very, very well, and return path data can do things very, very well, but it requires a lot of work. And even if you compare return path data from different companies, you'll see some differences, as you would from return path data to, say, Nielsen or traditional measurement. And the issue is, how is it measured? How are the data collected? And then what are the edit rules that are applied? So if you looked at, say, general trends of tuning, you probably see very similar types of results. So HUT levels, for example, are probably similar. But remember that return path data are defined differently. And what traditional measurement attempts to do is to measure the entire universe or population. Return path data does not necessarily do that. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you're DirecTV or Charter or Dish, there are tuning levels that differ from the national average. So in fact, nobody is the national average of anything, but that's what traditional measurement was designed to do. So is it true that satellite homes view more television on average? The answer is yes. They just watch television differently as well. And also options. So if you have different channels on different platforms, you'll get different viewership. So the question is not necessarily does it match with Nielsen, because any data set will be different. And in fact, if you compared national Nielsen data to national local data, in other words, localize it, they don't add up now. So there are going to be differences. The real value, though, is how do you not replace it? How do you enhance it? So what we're saying is we're creating measurement, let's say for commercials, that can easily be integrated and indexed to whatever traditional measurement you'd like to use to show directionally how the differences in values are.
So if I'm understanding you, it's not even really necessary that the return path data ratings that Kantar is creating and modeling, that it's not necessary that it matches the currency.
Well, again, it depends on your definition of matching. What we're saying is we want to represent the tuning that is supplied by return path. So in the case of what we do with our partner platforms, so if it's Charter, if it's Time Warner in Hawaii, if it's DirectView, those systems must represent those particular platforms. And those don't necessarily match Nielsen, because that's not what Nielsen is reporting. Nielsen is reporting an aggregate of television tuning, and what we're doing is return path, which is somewhat more defined. So the data don't necessarily have to match.
So the return path data that and the results that you're getting from the data are not projecting to national. You're not modeling to all viewing.
Correct. Right now we're reporting and representing the platforms from which we collect the data. So we are not modeling for tuning that is not within the footprint. I'm not sure how you would do that well without the other input. Now, other companies may do that. We don't, and we represent and disclose exactly what we report and what we're saying for the DirectView service, what we're saying for our Charter service or the Time Warner service, or the other companies that we work with. We're representing the platforms, and we're not imputing data from unknown sources for modeling, because we just won't.